Hi everyone. In this video, I am referencing one video where a story is narrated about someone, which is a kind of story that many children, like this boy, could have faced in their life when they were growing up, and they might not have realized that their family was covertly abusing them. Either someone in their family or someone closely related to them in their family was covertly abusing them. Because when you first hear this story, it talks about a girl who is possibly a 8-10 year old child who tells to her parents that her underwear is missing in her room. And because her underwear is missing, the parents search for the underwear and find it in the room of her older brother, who is a teenager. And they end up accusing the boy of being a pervert, and both the parents chastise the boy in front of his friends and accuse him of not having a clean mind. Now it is possible that sometimes some children can tend to be in their teenage years a little bit perverted, like how the parents think this boy did it. But it turned out later on that they had a dog who they found that the dog was taking away the daughter's clothes, and that's why the clothes were all wet and slimy when they found it in the brother's room. Now, many people in the comments section have just chalked this out to irresponsible parenting, that the parents should have investigated it further instead of just accusing the boy. Because what happened was the boy ended up being accused in front of his friends, and he was shamed in front of his friends, and then his friends thought that this boy is a pervert, and because of which he was likely socially also ostracized in his social groups in school life. Now, or maybe the neighborhood children also didn't support him as much after this incident and stopped being his friends. Now, why I'm chalking this out to covert abuse is because what most people will fail to miss from this simple narration, and which requires discernment from someone who has undergone similar covert abuse in their life. And that's why I'm speaking about it, because I'm not a psychologist. I have had some psychology related coursework during my bachelor's and master's degree programs, but despite that, my narration of what I am assuming or narrating in this video comes from my personal life experiences with covert abusers, narcissistic abusers, and abusers of a certain personality type, which is usually categorized as antisocial personality. But there's also another personality type which is called Munchausen's by proxy. It used to be called Munchausen's by proxy, and I think currently it is called factitious disorder, because someone uses facts to make it some facts regarding someone's illnesses is used by a person who's a caretaker, usually of a child or a elderly or a spouse, and those caretakers take the some factual things about a person's life and twist it into a disorder and make it into a fictitious disease about the person. That's why I guess the disorder is called factitious disorder, where by proxy, by pretending that something is wrong with the particular person, they want the society to consider one family or someone in their family or in their loved ones to be mentally ill or socially ill or physically ill, and then they will use that person as a tool to gain sympathy from other humans in their contact, or they will use that illness of this person to go and gain funds from other people to treat this person, and when in fact the person is never getting treated, or they will get someone misdiagnosed and continuously give them false medication so that the person keeps falling sick, and then eventually they will use that sickness to continue generating like this. These people usually tend to have like a addiction to getting sympathy from others, addiction to pretending to be a savior for someone, and things like that. That is what the person who has Munchausen by proxy usually does. And also there is a subclass of people in this factitious disorder who tend to make someone deliberately ill because they have a ulterior motive of getting finances from that person's death eventually. So, and because most of these people who are being covertly abused, this guy's name in this video is mentioned as Trey. I don't know if his name is Trey. It could be any other guy, or any other child who has undergone this same thing in their teen years or younger years in their family life. Sometimes what happens is, what many people can fail to recognize is that, firstly, if you have owned any dogs, I myself didn't ever own a dog, but I used to live with a roommate who had a pet. And even that pet, even though that pet was not completely trained by other people, like the owner had potty trained the pet a little bit, but even then, when the pet was very sick at home, sometimes one time she had pooped inside the house. Even though we had a big garden behind and in front of the home, that pet could have easily gone out and pooped. But when the owner was missing, the owner used to be a doctor and was missing from the home for 2-3 days. In those couple of days of their work life, when the owner couldn't be at home and the dog had eaten something poorly, the dog ended up pooping inside the home. Now, even though it might usually it doesn't do it for many months, it never did that, but one time this accident happened with the dog, because there was no one to take care of the dog. There was no one to train the dog that in an emergency you can still go out of the house to do this. The dog had never been trained how to use the toilet seat, but there are some owners who also train their dog not only to go outside for their potty, but they are potty trained to potty train inside the home also in the toilet. Some owners do that. It is a very exceptional thing, but there are some owners who have trained their cats and dogs to use the toilet bowl like how humans use it. So it depends on how much you have trained your dog, right? So similarly, when a dog is usually at the naughty stages in it, and this dog was never the kind who will go and take shoes and clothes and other things from other people's rooms, because there were rooms in this homes which were completely open. This dog, if she wasn't trained, she would have gone and easily and gone into all of our rooms and taken our clothes, right? Or taken our slippers or chewed our shoes. Many dogs tend to do that also, but this dog didn't do that, and because it was trained. Whereas in this family's case, the dog was going and taking this daughter's clothes. Now, the reason why I felt that this was a fictitious thing, or someone trained the dog to be a naughty dog, is because if the dog was just randomly chewing people's stuff, the dog would have taken anyone's clothes, anyone's underwears, anyone's shoes, and would have been randomly scattering it around the house. It wouldn't have just taken the daughter's clothes and put it in the teenage boy's room. So the fact that all the clothes all the time were found only in this boy's room means someone close to the family, either inside the family life only that they are leading in this home, or someone very close to them who comes often to their home and is friendly with the dog. Both these personality types can train this dog to be naughty and just take the daughter's clothes. And not just take the daughter's clothes, someone could have trained them to take this daughter's underwear and put it in the son's room. And the reason why the second thing that people will not usually pick up, but I have tend to find this, and some researcher might want to do more research work on this topic, but I have found that children who are accused or misunderstood a lot by their own parents tend to be either adoptive children or foster children, or children who don't know that they were adopted, or children who had been kidnapped when they were young and they just don't know that they are not the biological child of the family. Or they could be children where one of the parents is not the biological parent of the child. And in those cases, many a times parents will tend to misunderstand the kid more. But secondary to the parents not misunderstanding when a child is not biologically related to them is the thing related to say, they have kidnapped someone's child, and they know that this child that they have kidnapped is from a very rich family, and they kidnap the rich family's child specifically for that reason. This kind of child kidnapping happens a lot in India. That's why this is coming as a thought to me. There are certain parts of India where rich family children are easily kidnapped from school for 1 day, 2 day, couple of days, and then ransom is sought from the family. But there is also instances of lot of child trafficking that goes on in hospitals, where babies are also kidnapped for multiple reasons. And it is easy to kidnap someone if you have watched, and these are all coming from real life experiences that I've observed, which I've intuitively gauged. And even sometimes fiction has also told us about these tales, like if you have seen the movie Sita and Geeta in Hindi, or where there were two people who looked very similar to each other. Now I think in later on in the story it gets found out that Sita and Geeta were actually twins, and one of the twins was kidnapped. And though it is a fictional movie from many decades back, the story that is put in that movie, Hindi movie Sita and Geeta, that story that is there can be actually true for anyone in life. Where if a child has been kidnapped in childhood days, when they were just a infant, or just right after being born, when the mother doesn't have the consciousness, easily someone can steal a kid when the mother is because when you're giving birth to twins and you're doing a natural birthing process, the second child doesn't usually get born immediately. The second child sometimes gets born within 5 minutes, sometimes the second child could be born after 1 hour. And if a midwife is present or a doctor is present who understands that the second child is going to be born, but they didn't intimate it to the family because of ulterior motives, they can easily kidnap that kid. And after having kidnapped the kid, that person who kidnapped the kid or gave the kid up to someone else to be raised, they know that this person comes from a rich family. They know that maybe they came from a rich family or well-to-do family. That's why the kidnapping happened, because people usually will not tend to kidnap poor family kids. People will kidnap poor family kids only when they themselves are barren, they don't have kids, and that's why they want to kidnap. Or they will kidnap a poor family's twin kid when they want to traffic the child and sell the child to someone else for profit. These are the reasons when poor people or average people's children get kidnapped. But when a rich person's child gets kidnapped, the ulterior motive is always finances. So while the child is unaware that they were kidnapped, the child is unaware that they are being raised by a family who in the background what is going on with the child doesn't know. For the child it just seems like either a normal childhood or an abnormal childhood, like this stray person's childhood, where he's getting accused of things by his parents that he doesn't even do. But why will they do this? Because some people who are who have these ulterior motivations they deliberately want to traumatize this child and continue traumatizing the child throughout their childhood using subtle, covert, abusive tactics. Because if any child goes through this kind of abuse constantly in their life and repeatedly in their life for many years or decades, after a 20-30 year of age, sometimes some of these children with constant abuse, constant social isolation, because what he experienced is a 15-year-old in this instance. If this kind of this time the family found out that he was innocent. But what if the parents fail to tell this to the society around them? They fail to narrate the same incident and reveal that he is innocent, he didn't do it, it was a dog who did it. Everyone else, we were false, and they say sorry. A parent can do it. If you are a real parent, true parent, adoptive or otherwise, if you are a nice, kind, generous human being, a fair human being, you will automatically clarify this about your child, because you will not want to traumatize your child. And this is the place where the cops or anyone who wants to investigate whether this child was really being abused or whether there are ulterior financial motivations for his abuse. These are the ways where doctors also and therapists also and cops also and the legal system also can distinguish whether this child is being abused, because he could have been a foster kid also. So whatever he was, let's say he was a foster kid or an adoptive kid or a kidnapped kid that no one knows that he was kidnapped except the parents who kidnapped him. In all these instances, whatever is going on, the fact that he is getting abused is crystal clear in the messaging. Everyone who wrote up in the comments can see that it was an unfair thing that happened to the child. Everyone can gauge that some unfairness happened to this child. But what people can't gauge, unless you were yourself that kind of a child who has experienced that kind of a upbringing in your life, what people don't usually understand is that if he didn't do this crime and this crime was not clarified by the parents to society or the siblings to other people, or people didn't believe when it was clarified, let's say the parents never clarified this, only the daughter clarifies this to her friends that my brother didn't do it, I found out that the dog was doing it, but because she was a 8-10-year-old kid, they didn't believe her. Then what is happening? The society keeps on believing that he is a pervert when he is in fact not a pervert and he didn't do anything like that. And imagine what he is feeling if he is a sensitive child, nice child, good child. Everyone is thinking badly about him when he didn't do anything bad. Everyone is blaming him for something that he never did. Doesn't even have the thought process or thinking process to do things like that. But who did this? That thing needs to be investigated, because that person has either a mental illness, social illness, or ulterior motives for doing covert abuse and gaslighting on this kid, so that when the kid finally turns into an adult, and if these people are that high level intellectually intelligent people, some of these abusers who are highly intelligent, they plot and plan like building blocks of abuse for someone. What they will do is, this incident is narrated from when this boy was 15 years old. We don't even know how Trey was treated when he was 10 years old. We don't even know how he was treated when he was 18. We don't even know how he was treated when he was 25. And this kind of covert abuse, if a parents are doing to a child, it's never a isolated incident. The fact that they insulted him in front of his friends shows that they don't actually care about him or his mental and emotional well-being. And most people chalked it to immature parents or irresponsible parents, but some people are really not that irresponsible or that immature. They are clever, they are intellectually very clever, they are intellectually very manipulative, and they understand the emotions of other people they are emotionally also very intelligent. So their emotional intelligence and intellectual intelligence, logical reasoning skills, both are high level. And not only are they high level intelligent, they are also at the same time very capable of slowly plotting and planning a life for this stray child, so that by his 20s or 30s he will be categorized as a mentally ill person in some way or the other, or an antisocial personality, or a socially ill person, when Trey is in fact none of these. He might have a personality disorder, like if you are constantly not cared for by your parents, or your siblings and parents are always accusing you of things that you never did, what will happen psychologically to that person? And then they have created this narrative incidents where in front publicly he was humiliated. And if he was a very sensitive, some people have a tough skin, but not everyone has a tough skin. So if this stray child doesn't have a tough skin and he is a sensitive child, and his parents actually know this, because any child who is raised by their parents, however clueless their parents are, if you have lived with some human being for 10-15 years of their life, you have a very accurate understanding about the sensitivities of a person in some ways. You may not be, unless you are a narcissistic parent, except for the narcissistic parent category, or a parent who was getting severely abused and addicted. If the parents were not abusive, if the parents were not addicted, if the parents were not fighting with each other and lost in their own world, or if the parents didn't have too much financial challenges in their world, these kind of parents know very well how their child is, even if you are not biologically related to them. But because they are not biologically related, they have a higher motivation to accuse someone of being mad, because it is possible either that if this was a kidnapped child and you know that this person comes from a richer family, eventually when that family's life would be revealed about that child, what will happen? Maybe they will get an inheritance from that family, and if the child gets that inheritance, this father wants, or a mother, whoever is the one who is actually training the dog to do this, and maybe it's not even the father and the mother. Let's say it's the brother of the father who knows that this child was kidnapped. Maybe the brother was training the dog to do this. Someone related to the family knew that this person is rich, and because that someone knew that this person, this part is fictional, but even though what I'm telling you is fictional, it is a high probability for this child that this is happening, especially if in Trey's life many such incidences have happened where he has been falsely accused of something that he didn't do. So in the case of the child like Trey, and it can be gender non-specific, it can be a child who is not a boy, it could be a girl also who could have undergone the same kind of covert abuse in their life, where false tales were narrated about the girl also by their seeming family, who are actually not their family, but the girl doesn't know, and Trey also likewise doesn't know whether he is related to this family or not, but all he understands is he is getting abused. And even though he will not process the abuse when he's 15 years old, but in his 20s and 30s, eventually one day he will wake up that he was being abused for 15-20 years of his life. Because when you are a child and a teenager, everything that happens to you, even if the grossest form of abuse happens to you, some people will normalize that as a normal thing that happens in your family life. They will not process until you become an adult and start seeing the outside world a lot. Very few people realize that if some abnormal thinking patterns and behavioral patterns were present in their childhood days, that it is abnormal, that thinking will not arise in someone when they don't know what is normal in the world. Because for a child, the normalcy that they see in their upbringing is the normalcy they think is normal. This is what a normal life is. They don't know that there are other people where parents will support you, parents will ask you, take you aside and ask you away from your friends, did you really do this? If you did it, why did you do it? Like, there are kind, caring, gentle, supportive parents also who will first ask and try to figure out. And if they have a dog in the house, how come, the first question that came to me, how come none of them thought that when these clothes were found slimy and wet, none of them thought that the dog could have chewed the clothes? Because how a dog also carries the clothes, chews the clothes. Dog also has their teeth, right? Unless this dog's teeth were, it's a baby dog, even then some teeth marks would have also been found in this clothes. So how come no one observed it? So if people didn't observe it, that means they knew that the dog was doing it, but they still wanted to covertly abuse Trey in front of his friends. That's why they did this to Trey. And so children like Trey exist in the world, who are existing with their family for 20-30 years of their life, not knowing why their parents were abusing them this way. Many children like that have been raised by their family who don't understand why their parents did this to them when they were kids. Why did their parents embarrass them initially? And when you are in your 20s and 30s, we all go through these philosophical principles, religious principles of forgiveness, live and let live. So we end up forgiving these parents also. Many kids do that. They will forgive their parents, they will try to understand why the parent did what they did. All these things they will be going through, when actually that child should not be doing any of this, or the number of years they should process this should be few years. They shouldn't process this for years and years as to what did I do wrong, when nothing you did was actually wrong, except that you were kidnapped by someone, or someone is raised you for monetary reasons as a foster kid. Like, if you have read Les Miserables, the novel by Victor Hugo, or watched the movie, in that the prostitute Cosette, when her daughter was raised by the mayor of this particular place, in the story in Les Miserables, we nowhere we see that Cosette's daughter was being abused. But there could have been some mayor like this who could have abused the foster daughter. In an alternate story where a person who is well respected by society has raised a child, and it seems like he's doing a very good thing, that he has been raising a prostitute's kid with no ulterior motives, and all society is glorifying him for raising this Cosette's daughter, and in the end of the story he even gets Cosette married to the person she loves. right? Something like that happens. But what if in an alternate story he doesn't allow Cosette to get married? Why? Because he knows that when Cosette's daughter to get married. Why? Because he knows once Cosette dies, because she was a prostitute, she might have had a lot of money, that money will come to this daughter, and he doesn't want this daughter to get married. That's why he could do that. There could be a father like that also to a Cosette's daughter, who was raised like this by someone else, and Cosette doesn't know that whatever money she has always sent to her daughter never went to her daughter only. That could also happen. There are many people who do that, who get money from someone for raising someone else's kid, because they were a prostitute or because they were a single parent and didn't have the resources to take care of a child, so they gave their child away to a relative, and the relative raised and the whole world thinks that the relative is the parent of the child, when in fact the relative is not the parent but was a foster parent raising on behalf, or a guardian parent. And this foster parent or a guardian parent who was raising this child, the child doesn't know it. Only for 20, 30, 40 years they haven't known that they were this guardian child of someone or a foster child of someone. And in the background they also, that's why, don't know when their abuse was happening, what was the reason for their abuse. They didn't know it, because they didn't realize it. Some children, first of all, it takes you a long time to realize, even if you were raised by your own biological parents, to understand abuse from a parent. Abuse from a parent gets normalized by most kids. So most kids will normalize it, will want to rationalize it, will love their parents deeply enough, because these parents were the ones who took care of them for 15, 20 years of their life. So until their 20s, 30s, 40s, many people will not even realize they were being covertly abused or abused at all. They just won't get it. But the ones who do start to get it are the ones who have been repeatedly abused in such a long term, and they have also faced enough of life outside the home to understand that the abuse that they were facing wasn't a normal behavioral pattern of a parent. Then they will start thinking maybe the parent is mentally ill or socially ill. But sometimes it's not simply a mental and social illness, it is true evil present in those humans, or who only wanted to gain some money at the end of someone's life. And these people are so, they create these factitious disorders for these kids, because now if say Trey's society, in this instant of Trey only, I'll give the example, like in 15 years of age, when he was ostracized like this by his friends and community, and everyone in the community thinks that Trey has done something wrong. Now what happens is, Trey starts getting socially isolated, so he doesn't have that many friends to interact with. So his life becomes even more internalized. He doesn't get to experience life as a normal teen with other teenagers. So he doesn't, and because he's not experiencing life with other teenagers, he doesn't get to experience other human beings and their personality types. So he doesn't understand that there are good human beings, bad human beings. Some human beings will make fun of you, some won't make fun of you, some will be abusive, some won't be abusive. These varying types of human personalities that are available out there in the world, he doesn't know. All he knows is the world in his home. And in his home, what is happening? His sister, even though his sister knows his brother is innocent, but what if that sister still feels a little bit creepy that he touched my underwear? And because she's not even biologically related to him, that can happen even more, especially if some sexual tension was present in between these kids, because they were not biologically related, because of his sister wants to keep a distance. Now that makes Trey feel even more isolated. Then thirdly, if the parents also continue to silently judge him for what he didn't actually do, and actually one or both the parents know that he didn't actually do, and they had planned this whole setup with the dog and trained the dog to do this, or maybe the parents didn't do it, but say some sibling of the parent knew it and they had planned this setup with the dog, the parents are still silently maybe judging him, or not at least being very supportive with him. And then if one of the parents is involved, or a parent and a friend was involved in creating this scenario with this dog, and they are ulteriorly motivated to have control of his finances eventually in his later life, what will they do? They will keep socially isolating him from friends, keep blocking communication to him, keep not furthering the communication that is necessary for Trey to have a balanced societal interaction with other people in society. They might also push him towards making friendships only with those people who will ruin him more than with those people who will help him, because this is what covert abuse is, and gaslighting and manipulative abuse from close family can look like, even when they are actually biologically related to you, and especially when they are not biologically related but they have a ulterior financial motive, that a financial motive that most people are unaware about, because most people don't know that Trey is not their children. To everyone, maybe this family arrived in this city when Trey was 5 years old, and Trey also doesn't know it, because if the Trey was kidnapped when he was a baby, he doesn't know that he had another set of parents. So no one knows that this background of Trey except the people who kidnapped him, or except the people who, like the mayor in Les Miserables, got custody of Cosette's child. Except for that mayor, no one knew this background and Cosette. And if Cosette dies, then no one knows about it. See, and that also happens to many kids, that your parents have died. You were given away for adoption or foster care by your parent. Your parent never contacted you all these years. Maybe the parent never contacted, because sometimes it can happen that a Cosette-like person, out of shame for the profession they hold, they may not even contact the child for many years. That can happen. But there are also instances where Cosette might have sent letter after letter every year to her child, but the letter was never given to the child. And that's why the child never knew that they had a second set of parents who they had a mother who loved her deeply. She never knew. That can also happen. So how these stories play out, but this is where covert abuse, narcissistic abuse, and deliberate abuse, calculatingly done abuse occurs in many people's lives, especially if high money is at stake, some inheritance is at stake. And even if it is not high degree of money, if some people are socially really mentally ill or cruel, they also derive pleasure from the pain of other. So even if say Cosette being a prostitute, if Cosette remained a poor prostitute and him being a mayor, he is a very rich mayor. Again, in that fictional situation but real life situation of someone similar to them, if the person who was raising the child was super rich, but the person who was the biological parent was now a poor person, there the financial motivation is gone to separate the mother and the child. But what motivation remains? There the motivation remains is that the mayor doesn't want the child to love anyone more than him. The mayor may not want the child to not just love anyone more than him, but doesn't want anyone to know that this is not his child. The mayor doesn't want anyone to know, may want everyone to know that this is his not his child, that he has raised and this was his adoptive child, so that he can get the social glory from it. But he doesn't want the social glory related any credit or care or love to go to the child, because some people are like that. They do not want the love that they are getting from everyone for doing a good job to go to the person that they are doing that good job for. And in actuality, he may have taken money from Cosette, he may have raised the daughter, but how much did he raise? He actually raised, put her in a convent to be raised. So he didn't really raise. Maybe for the first 2 years, 3 years, he might have raised her. But when the child was very, the upkeep of a baby was hardly any cost for him. But after that, when the baby was given away to this convent also, at that time he doesn't even have any costs only to raise her. But Cosette is continuously giving him money to raise her. So these factors, if it comes to light, either Cosette might want him to give back the money, or the child might want him to give back the money. And if the mayor has too much of his reputation at stake, he will, some of these people who are not ready to change their life into a better way, or who do not want any good mother-daughter relationship to exist between the child that they were raising, they will deliberately do this thing where they will either poison the child so that the child never comes to know of the parent, or they will poison the parent also. because these people have power now. If he's the mayor, he has the power and the access and the means to even poisoning someone in a very effortless manner that no one will understand only. Because if no one knows about Cosette and his daughter's relationship, he will never ever, he can get away with their murders also. And this is why I am making this video, because this is very important. There are many people like this, Trey's parents, or the story of this fictional mayor from Les Miserables, who are not as great as people perceive them to be, who had done some crimes that got undetected, or the extent of the crime they were doing against someone, people didn't understand. Because when it is family life and abuse happening inside a family, those kind of abusers, or when a child has been raised by an abuser all their life, they normalize so many things about their abuse that it takes a long time to discover and uncover the elements of their abuse from what happened to them while they were being raised. And that's why anyone who knows a child like this Trey needs to understand that Trey may be innocent, needs to understand that if repeatedly also Trey, if you see a child like Trey who looks like a normal child, who doesn't actually behave anything abnormally with other people, or whose behavioral patterns show that maybe he has BPD like symptoms, where occasionally he gets very angry in front of public suddenly and randomly, or he has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder too, where he experiences these sudden anger phases. These kind of children who have BPD, sudden anger, they are all the kinds of children who were not supported by their parents when they were growing up. And if there is a history of people accusing them of things where they say they are innocent, sometimes they are indeed innocent, and the person who is actually mentally or socially ill, or much more ill than this child, is the person who raised them and had some ulterior motives of cruelty or monetary motivation or other mental and social illnesses, driving them to really ruining some people's lives. Some people can do it. People don't understand how horrible these people are who raise kids this way. And they all have usually either monetary reasons or greed, or this glory of being praised by everyone. They're attached and addicted to something toxic that they have loved for so many years, that they are unwilling to let go of that attachment to the money they had as a result of raising a child, or they are unable to let go of the attachment they have to the social glory they have as a result of being considered great for raising a orphan, or they are considered great for if they have spun this narrative that Trey is a mentally ill person, and for years and years everyone thinks Trey is a mentally ill person. So everyone is like, wow, these parents are so great that despite having a mentally ill son, they're doing so well for him, and all these social glory and credit that they are getting from society makes them not clarify that Trey actually was never a pervert and he is not mentally ill. So these things, the medical system, legal system, justice system has to look into, because many innocent people have been convicted for things that they were actually not responsible for, and people behind them, around them, people they trusted, were actually doing betrayal, trauma related and gaslighting related and manipulation related and abuse related step by step planning behind their back in their life. Sometimes it was just one person in the family who was doing it, sometimes it was a combination of people who were doing it for such children. So if you have any questions on this, please drop me a comment. I would like to clarify this further, and I'm also going to post a story of another child's narrative where also something similar was going on, but this video being 30 minutes long, I'll make a second video on that. Again, if you have any questions, please drop me a comment. Thank you.